Hi everyone, my name is Nick Pecos with the Pecos Aesthetic Workshop. I am working on this skinny couch table for behind our couch. It's hickory live edge wood with Randgate black knot filler filled in, and I'm just going through my sanding process before I put on 2 coats of Odie's oil and then 1 coat of water-based polyurethane. And I figured I'd share with you what I do for my sanding process. There's definitely more than one way to do it, but this is just how I do it. It works pretty well for me, so I figured I'd share it and tell you about the grits I use and the tools I use, and maybe it'll help you out with what you're doing. So the first thing I do is, this is called the Restorer. If you don't have one of these, I highly suggest you get one. I think I picked this up for 129 bucks. It comes with this steel bristle brush, which is what I use to strip the bark and the live edge off. Actually, I use a chisel to strip off the bark, but then once the bark's off, I use the Restorer and this wire brush to really clean up the live edge piece. If you just come out and show them. Because of it's got these bristles on it, it really gets in these grooves, these wormhole grooves, really good. Does a really good job of cleaning it up. They make a sanding attachment for this too that I don't have yet, that I'm hoping to pick up soon. That'll assist sanding that as well. So that's what I do first. I use the Restorer to do that. Then I switch over to Festool ETS EC 150-3 EQ. 6-inch sander. I actually use that and their DTS 400 sander. This is a little bit different. It's not a rotary sander. It vibrates and goes in all different directions, and it's really good for getting tight corners, which comes in helpful when I'm sanding tight corners like that. So I switch back and forth between these 2 sanders, but mainly I use the rotary sander. What I do is I start off on 80 grit and I move to 120 grit. Sand those 2 levels. Then I hit it with a sponge and some water to lift the grain. Then I go back and hit it with 120 grit again. And then move to 150 grit, 180 grit, 220, 800, 1200, and then 1500. And I've found 1500 is kind of the key for me, grit-wise, for getting a really good sheen. I like to have a good sheen on the pieces I make, and when I go up to 1500, it leaves a really cool looking sheen, and I'm happy with the results. So I go all the way up to 1500 grit. Then when I'm done with that, I use Odie's oil and this buffer pad, which fits nicely on my 6-inch sander, and I buff in 2 coats of Odie's oil. Buff in 1, let it penetrate for 5 minutes, and then rub it off with a towel. And then do a 2nd coat, let it dry for 24 to 48 hours, and then because this is going to be a table and there's going to be potentially drinks on it and plates and things like that, I use a water-based polyurethane top coat just to keep the top protected so it doesn't get damaged. And that is pretty much it. Hopefully that kind of helps you work through if you're new to woodworking or had some questions about sanding, how you can go about things and what tools you can use to get the job done. Please, if you have any suggestions for how you sand, want to share your tips, I'd love to hear them. And any questions or anything like that, please post them in the comments. Thanks, guys.